Part 1. Generate the age of the student. In order to generate the age of a student, you're going to need to copy in an Excel function, and you can find this specific Excel function in the description of this video tutorial. So you just highlight it, copy it, and we're going to go back to Excel, and wherever you want the age to display in your specific caseload, you just hit Control V on that first student in that first row, right? So for me it was Lauren Adams. We have her age just instantly generating 8 years 9 months, but it only generates because my date of birth for this particular student is in cell C2. So you'll see that in the formula you copied and pasted, there are 3 different areas where it says C2, C2, and C2. That's referring back to this cell right here, C2, which is the date of birth. If in your specific caseload you have the date of birth in a different cell, such as E2, what you're going to have to do is go up here and click and just delete the C from each C2 and change it to E. I'm going to switch this back to C, and then once you do that, you just hit enter and you drag it down. This Excel function is particularly complex, so I'm not going to take time in this tutorial explaining how it works. Instead, I'm going to break this Excel function down in a different tutorial. Part 2. Generate the days remaining. So in the video description, you're going to copy this. You're going to see this in the video description of the YouTube tutorial. Just going to hit Control C. Then we're going to go back to our caseload. Wherever you want the days remaining to be, just hit Control V. And it should come out like this, which is going to be a little confusing. We're going to have to format this from a date into a number. But the first thing you're actually going to do is you're going to have to switch this to wherever the next evaluation is. So right now the cell for my next evaluation is H2. Wherever your next evaluation is, let's say it was in D2, you'd have to write D2 here and then it would work. So for me it's H2, and then we go and right click and we go to format cells, we go to number, and we just hit OK, and we go up here and we move it to the right. And so there's 308 days remaining. That looks like it makes sense. It's July of next year. And we're just going to drag it down. Part 3. Shading every other row. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a really simple Excel formula in order to shade in each row to make for a better visual. So instead of doing it one by one, what you would do is you'd hit Control A, which is select all. Then you click on conditional formatting and click new rule. Then you'd click on use a formula to determine which cells to format. Then what you're going to click, and this again, you could just copy and paste this in from the video description. I'm just going to type it in as equals mod, and then in parentheses it's going to be row, open parentheses, close parentheses, comma, 2, close parentheses, equals 1. And then what you're going to do once you paste that in is you're going to go to format and you're going to click fill, and you can pick any color that you want the rows to be, every other row to be shaded in. I'm going to choose this light blue right here and I'm going to hit OK, and this is how it comes out. Now how did that work? Let me go back to conditional formatting and click manage rules. I'm just going to explain this real quick. So I'm going to double click on this and we're going to look at this formula. This is the modulus function, which returns the remainder, and so it's equals mod, and then there's 2 parameters, the number and the number it's divided by. And so basically what we did was we said whatever the row number is, divide that by 2, and if it equals 1, then format this light blue. And so if you think about it, we have the row number, let's say the row number is 3, and it's divided by 2, we're going to get a remainder of 1. So that means that it's going to be color-coded in. Every even number will not be color-coded in. And so that's how it works. Part 4. Color code upcoming cases. Now we're going to color code each row for students who are due within a certain time frame, such as students due within 20 days. We want to highlight them as red, so that way it's a better visual to see whose cases are coming up. And so the first step is to simply just click on the first student's days remaining cell. And so I'm clicking right here, and then I hit Control A to select all. And notice how the cell is highlighted for this first student on my caseload and in the days remaining column. And so this is highlighted. Then we go to conditional formatting and we click New Rule. And then we click Use a Formula to determine which cells to format. And we're going to go in and we're going to click Equals. And we're going to click on this cell. And then we're going to hit F4 twice. What that's going to do is change it from $K, $2 to just $K2. And what a $sign does is it locks it in place. And so we're locking the column in place by saying $K, but we're not going to lock the row in place. And so each row is going to be changed because of it. And then we're going to hit less than 20, and we're going to format it. And again, we're going to click Fill, and we're going to click red or any color you want to display if a student is due within 20 days. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit OK again. And you'll see that each student who's due within 20 days is highlighted red. Part 5. Sorting the data. So if you want to sort the data, all you'd have to do is click on whatever column you want to sort it by, and just click on the sort button, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's say we wanted to sort by next evaluation. You could click on any row in this column, doesn't matter. You go up to data, and then you just click on this A to Z sort, and you'll see that the next evaluation, it just puts it in chronological order. And so let's say we don't want to do that, we want to do it by alphabetical order. I'm going to click over here, any one of these, doesn't matter which cell, and let's do A to Z, and you'll see Lauren Adams is now first. Part 6, linking the data. So I'm going to demonstrate what I'm going to do first, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's say we hit Control Shift and highlight that whole student's row, and then we're going to go to our new spreadsheet, our new worksheet, and we're going to hit Control V here. Notice how the date of birth shows up as numbers. If you double click to make the length longer on the column, the date of birth will show up just fine. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to minimize this, and if I open this up and I say yes, update the links, it'll switch from John Smith, which is what I had before, to Robert Miller. And so you can see the student ID for Robert Miller. It's right in there, so is everything else. And so that just really saves some time. And you'll see I did it on John Smith before. He was another student in here. He's right here. But let me show you how I did that. So what I basically did is I started by clicking on Robert Miller, holding down Control Shift, and then pressing the right arrow button, and that highlights his whole cell. It's just a nice little quick shortcut. Then you hit Control C to copy. You go to the report sheet, and we're just going to hit Control V here. Actually, you know what? Why don't I do it with a new student, just to give a new demonstration. So Control Shift, right arrow, then we have Control C, and I'm going to copy right over Robert Miller, Control V. Right? Don't worry that this is in red, it doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do is you're going to basically just link each one. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit Control C, and you're going to make a new Word document, and you're going to kind of set it up the way you would set up your typical report. And notice how Wendy Ford is already updated in here, but if you want to set up a link for the first time, all you have to do is hit Alt-ES, paste link, unformatted text, and hit OK. Notice how if we did say a formatted text, it would probably show up with a red background, because we have unformatted text, it just shows up the way Microsoft Word formats it. So now we have Wendy Ford here. We would do that for all the other identifying information as well. I'm just going to do it one more time. I'm going to hit Control-C on the date of birth, Alt-Tab to switch windows, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to hit Alt-ES, paste link, unformatted text, and hit OK. After you have all the information linked, it's going to link for each student. What you can do from here is copy it and paste it into your template that you're going to be working on with this student. So now, let's say you copied and pasted it into your template. The links will all stay, and so what you're going to need to do is break the links in that template, because you don't need the links anymore. And so what you would do is you just right-click on any one of these links. It doesn't matter which one. I'll just pick this one, right-click on it. And then you go to linked worksheet object and links ... You click here. And you click at the very top link. And then you hold down Shift and click on the bottom link. And you hit break link. Are you sure you want to break the selected links? And you hit yes. So now you have all the information without the links. Let's say we finished writing that report. We don't need Wendy Ford in the caseload or the report anymore. We can just hit Control-X and hit Control-V. And so now they're in the finished cases worksheet, which I had set up. And so this is the third worksheet. If I go back to reports, Wendy Ford is no longer there. And if I go to the caseload, I can just delete her from the caseload just by going to this. You see where it says 12 right here? Whatever number row they are, then you just hit right click on the number of their row and you hit delete, and now it works for that. There's one other thing I want to just point out real quick, and this is kind of just a final thoughts thing. Notice how the red takes priority over the blue as far as formatting goes. That's because it's set up that way. If you go to Home and you go to Conditional Formatting and say Manage Rules, and you click and you say I want this to be a priority over the red, then you hit OK, you'll notice that this 7 is now in blue, and only the even numbers are going to show red. But we don't want it that way. We instead want the red to be the priority rule over the blue. And so I'm going to hit the up arrow, hit OK, and yeah, that was just a little final thought. And yeah, this is just a great way to organize your Excel templates. And if you have any questions, just feel free to leave a comment under this video. Thank you very much for watching.